All right. So we just finished watching a 2-hour video that was live streamed just 30 miles from here at the annual conference thing, at the Facebook Oculus thing for programmers and developers of virtual reality. And I am planning to attend next year. Yeah, it's going to manifest that reality. So a few notes on the programs we'll be creating for healing journey opportunities of consciousness, if you will, through or within the dissociative identity movement. So a few things. First, healing. Okay, let's start there. So we got 3 different things to share. 1, mental health. 95% of consciousness that impacts the unfolding experiences of mental health, particularly mental health battles, lie beyond direct awareness. And yet, once they're brought into awareness, we have increased power within those experiences. And so if there was a program where you could tangibly explore the 95% of your consciousness existing beyond awareness and gain an understanding of where your experiences stem from, what's happening behind the scenes, what's going on, you can learn to show up for those parts of yourself better. We no longer have to play guessing games from the outside looking in. We don't have to look at our behaviors and start there. We can start from the inside of the neurobiological applications of consciousness in order to understand what's creating the behaviors and address things from the inside out. And so for mental health in general, for people to gain that tangible understanding of what's occurring behind the scenes of their mind, to be able to tangibly explore their consciousness from the inside out, to gain a tangible understanding of what parts are, who they are, how they operate, what's creating these sensations of mind and body, people would then start to have power within those experiences. Just setting up my mirror so my parts can be present for this. Hey you. So yeah, golly gee willikers. And so to be able to tangibly explore the 95% of consciousness impacting mental health that lie beyond our awareness would be one of the main objectives of one of the programs. Okay, and then from there, there's other specifics. So dissociation is the next one. Dissociation involves parts of the brain shutting down. So your sense of self is diminished, your sense of external presence is diminished, and your internal projections are increased. And if we could work with these elements in a healing fashion through technology that actually works with a dissociative brain, things would freaking change. It would change the game of what recovery could look like. And self-understanding and self-validation and self-presence and personal empowerment, all these things that allow for healing opportunities. And so when you're dissociated, when I'm dissociated and I'm in virtual reality, my experiences are more real in that program than they are out here. This is not something I'm in tune with, and yet when I step into VR, those elements of sensory experiences are reignited. So for general mental health understanding for all battles, so that we no longer need to address the externals, we can explore the insides of our mind in a fun, tangible, exploratory way that individuals can do. You don't have to sit in a classroom and learn about it. You don't have to talk to a therapist and say, can you please explain my brain to me? No, these would be, people could just buy a program and go explore with no limitations on their own time, in their own way, having their own unique experiences. Okay, so that, and then dissociation, to be able to be present with an experience when your neurophysiological capacities are not allowing for presence in your life. It could change the game for healing. Okay, and then for dissociative identity disorder specifically, when people are living with multiple persons inside of one body, there's a lot of different things that happen. And one of it is this self-limitation of who do I be every moment when I have so many persons desiring to express themselves. And how can I feel valid in this physical form when this is not usually who I identify with? And how can I express myself to other people and allow them to see these multiple bodies and these multiple minds that I am when this is all they can see? And how do I engage in life experiences to allow for all these many persons to be present with experiences without causing complications and chaos in my life? You know, if one part wants to go out clubbing, but other parts get triggered by loud music, just as one of infinite examples, of course, how do you remedy that? How can there be fulfillment for all parts? How can all parts have the experiences they are capable and worthy of experiencing without causing harm to the life? And the other part of that is the consistencies of life. Like if I'm trying to be a person within society and have this presentation of who I am for business purposes and some aspects of relational purposes or whatever, then me changing my presentation can confuse people. But if I had this other place to express all of that, it wouldn't be as devastating to try and present myself as a singular unit, or as a unified, cohesive person that other people could understand or whatever, just as a few examples. Of course, there's infinite examples of these kinds of things. But when you're living with multiple person, there's all these aspects of personhood that feel impossible and limiting, and you feel like you have to reduce yourself and yourselves to fit in with this single person world. But if there was a virtual reality program where your different parts could have these different means of self-expression, your different persons could have these different experiences without disrupting things by having the experiences in the external world, like if you're in the safety and comfort of your own home and you're like at a club or something and a part gets triggered, you can just end the experience. Instead of being at that club like, okay, crap, there's loud music and I don't even know how to communicate and oh my gosh, I'm going to leave. Like, there could be legitimate dangers that are preventable because parts can work together and all have their own experiences without jeopardizing the life in general. And so just being able to express your multiple persons, being able to create bodies that feel connected to the individual persons, being able to see that and interact as that body in a world, being able to have different experiences of consciousness from a singular physical space, being able to express what your many persons look like to other people as they're playing VR and you're here showing, these avatars of your different parts and persons, etc. Which leads us to the next exciting point, age regression. Age regression. If your experiences, neurophysiological, tangible body-brain experiences feel like they're coming from a 2-year-old and you're in a 26-year-old body, as one of many examples of persons living with DID, there's so much chaos to that. Because how do other people understand what you're experiencing? And how do you validate what you're experiencing? And how can you explore these experiences in a safe way? And how can, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. There's so many different aspects to it. And I'm grateful for the space I have to heal, where I really got to be in a safe environment and spend time to myself and have some property to explore. But not everybody has that. And I couldn't have healed without it. I couldn't have healed without this opportunity, but this opportunity could be created in virtual reality so anybody could experience it. And so to be able to create an avatar that matches a 2-year-old's body, and to be able to have experiences of consciousness through the mind of a 2-year-old, and have it be something tangibly real to the consciousness through the body-brain system, would be revolutionary for healing age-regressive parts and states of consciousness. And within that, there could be the creation of childhood experiences that never got to occur. Playing on playgrounds with other children, feeling safe around adult figures, all of these various aspects that could create tangible healing from the inside out. It's a game changer here. like 100 million, thousand, quadrillion astronomical percentages. Infinite numbers with infinite percents. Percent signs is what we're picturing. So, and then there's one more piece I thought. Oh yeah, so healing parts within structural dissociation involves facial features. When you look at yourself and you raise your eyebrows with compassion, and you lean them in a listening, intuitive manner, and you soften the gaze of the eyes, and you transform the stern frown into a gentle smile. Parts of consciousness relax, and as the vocal tones shift, it creates space for presence of consciousness, allowing parts to feel seen and feel heard and feel welcome and feel cherished and feel loved and feel allowed. This is a cornerstone of recovery for everything from borderline personality disorder to dissociative identity disorder, where the social engagement system is activated through the ventral vagus complex of neurophysiological applications of consciousness. It's funny, it's hard to actually reach the science in my brain when I'm being in this gentle manner, because this is a nightingale part, and the science is a guardian part, and the information is stored in separate aspects of my brain. Hashtag mad scientist. When the ventral vagal complex system is engaged, there are healing opportunities that do not otherwise exist. And most people with DID can't get to this because the dissociative states of consciousness reduce and limit your conscious access to muscular control, especially in your facial features. It's a physical experience. And so there's this therapy that Janina Fisher created where a big point of it is to use the ventral vagal system and shift your tone of voice and your facial features to connect with parts. But this is a new therapy, and therapy is expensive, and a lot of therapists aren't trained in it, etc., etc., etc. And what about the people who don't have access to this therapy? What about the people who, etc., etc., etc.? And at the end of the day, it's still complicated because you're still giving power to another person. And that alone can activate attached parts and activate fight parts and spiral into a dissociative episode that destroys the therapeutic relationship. And this is not because of any fault of trauma survivors or trauma surviving warriors. It's to no one's fault. It's occurring because of the neurobiological occurrences within the body-brain system, the neurophysiological applications of consciousness within the dissociative identity, otherwise known as adaptable consciousness condition, ACC. It's because of things beyond conscious control. And even when there's awareness of these things, your ability to just shift and change them, it's very limited because of how it's in your body, brain, beyond awareness. Like, even when the facts of what's happening are brought into awareness, the ability to change them is still beyond awareness. It's a miracle that I was able to do it by the grace of God. And a part of that was because I had a strong childhood. I had good memories to some degree to tap into. I had this higher education to kind of tap into. I had these experiences that allowed me to be a leader within my consciousness. But if I hadn't had those experiences, my consciousness wouldn't have had the neural pathways to tap into to create those experiences. And most people with DID don't have those kinds of neural pathways in their consciousness. And again, to no fault of anybody, this is just part of the experience of body-brain development. And so if there was a program where you could engage the ventral vagal complex the social engagement system in the body brain in a healing way where you're not giving power away to another person. You're doing it through a program and healing yourself through those experiences that you're engaging in on your own time, one-on-one with yourselves. It would change the game. So not only could parts express themselves as their own individual persons, but actual, tangible, transformative, life-changing, brain rewiring, body evolving experiences could occur. The time is now. The time is now. Infinite mic drops. The time is now.